Hi. Thank you for attending today's reading. Let's begin. I've secretly started vaping weed. I started vaping weed. My husband doesn't know. I have really bad anxiety and depression. And we have 2 toddlers. My prescription medication makes me feel nauseous and I hate it. Weed isn't legal here. But I live right on the border of a legal state. It makes me feel so much better. I've gone a week without yelling at my kids or husband. I've been cooking and cleaning more. I want to actually cuddle and be intimate with my husband now. I can sit and listen and play with my kids without getting irritated or just dreading the fact that they're making a mess. I'm not anxious and sad and stuffing my face. My low-carb food tastes delicious now. So I'm actually losing weight. I haven't been getting my daily tension headaches. I'm happy to get out of bed in the morning. And I quit my prescription sleeping pills. I always thought weed made you a depressed couch potato. But it's having the opposite effect on me. My husband is uber conservative and already is kind of disgusted that I take stuff for anxiety, depression. He definitely wouldn't like this. End of story. Next story. When my manager has me buy him a lottery ticket, I buy another one for myself with the same numbers. I hate him so much. The thought of him winning the lottery and having to split it with me makes me so happy. End of story. Next story. I am the one who farted and ruined lunch for everyone. Someone had fried chicken delivered to the office for all to share. The smell was potent and delicious, filling the entire building. Shortly afterward I farted, one of those long warm ones. And it was also very potent. The smells mingled in a way that nature never intended. Needless to say, everyone was confused and upset. I saw someone gag into their hand and put down their chicken thigh, never picking it back up. Nobody knows it was me. End of story. Next story. When I was 9, I used to take cold showers with the lights turned down, pretending I was a rhino in the rain. End of story. Next story. I clean up my house every morning and come back to it trashed after work. And I couldn't be happier because of it. So, I hate cleaning the house. Sometimes I enjoy getting in the groove to some music. But mostly it's just tedious and I don't get any help with it. When my now wife first moved in together, she was going through a bout of depression, and for a few years I would go to bed with her, wake up and go to work, and come back home most days her still sleeping, or if awake has yet to leave the bed, with her only really being up when I was home. So every day. The living room was the same way it was the moment I left. Sometimes going weeks being untouched, and it started to make me feel lonely because it was like I lived by myself all over again. As if nothing happens when I wasn't looking. Growing up in a family of 6. With many pets. And a lot of stray acquaintances. My folks allow friends and family to bum off us when going through tough times is a sort of halfway home. There was never a dull moment in the house, for better or worse, which made it feel like it was home. After no small amount of therapy and constant love, care, and commitment, she's been slowly cracking through her depression with only occasional bad days. And we have recently had our lovely daughter join our life. We just moved to a new area and a new house. My wife plays with the kid in the living room, gets her changed in the child's bedroom, makes herself and the little one some food in the kitchen now that she's eating more solids. And our little one destroys whatever she can get her hands on. Coming home to see my daughter crawling over mommy as they watch PBS. My wife laughing and playing. My house in a lovely mess of activity and life. And I couldn't be any happier. Well, if I could get hand with the dishes, that'd be nice. But with such a big victory, I'm not going to complain too much just yet. Edit. OMG, this blew up. I wasn't expecting this to do anything over 10 upvotes. And thanks for the gold. But please don't waste your money giving me fake internet points. I haven't read any of y'all's comments yet. I've busy finally finishing up the nursery now that I got a 4-day weekend. But also a little hesitant, like some sort of stage fright, I guess. But I promise that I'll read each and every one and respond to y'all. Edit 2. I've read every comment. And replied to most of them as promised. Thank y'all for the kind words. Also, I agree. This would have fit better in another sub than our confessions. Didn't think it through enough when deciding where to post. End of story. Next story. Being a lesbian and grabbing your own boob is exactly as good as a straight guy would imagine it'd be. That's all. Disclaimer. This isn't to say everyone can't enjoy a good boob. But it's how you experience the boob. Edit. More PPL offended by this than I expected. It's just a goof. End of story. Next story. I always call my regular customers' order before it's ready because she's old and it takes a while for her to walk and I want the food hot for her. I have a regular at the place I work. She comes in almost every day. She's very old but just so warm and sweet. She always orders the same hot pressed sandwich. I buzz her order that it's ready when it really still has about a minute left because I know it takes her at least a minute to get to the counter. And I don't want the food sitting there and getting cold. It's the little things that people may not even notice or realize. But I'm sure they appreciate it. Edit. I cannot believe this has received over 250 Kelvin's views and over 5,000 upvotes. Y'all are awesome and I appreciate the love and encouraging words. End of story. Next story. EuroVE had a Reddit account for over a year without giving two shits about karma. But since I posted 5 days ago I have 144 karma. And it made me surprisingly happy. End of story. Next story. I stole my son's teacher's keys. My son has Asperger's, which is like autism light. We've done extensive therapy and intervention and for the most part he is no different than any other kid his age, except he comes across as shy and a bit nerdy. Saying that with love. The only issue we had at school was that he would become overwhelmed, panic and run out of the classroom. Of course that is not okay. We and school decided to allow him to take quick breaks to decompress when he starts feeling overwhelmed. He has not had an incident since the 3rd grade. He started the 6th grade last year and it's hard for any kid. Especially for an Aspies kid. We met with all of his teachers and reminded him that he has this accommodation in writing and he will likely need to use it since middle school is tough for an Aspie kid. All but one of his teachers understood that and were supportive. His math teacher is just a nasty bitch. She's one of those teachers that should not be a teacher. We're not those crazy in-your-face parents. We just want what's best for our son and work with his teachers to do so. We kept on reminding her, verbally and in writing, especially as our son's anxiety started to grow around her. Imagine my surprise when I get a call from his counselor telling me to pick my son up. Apparently he had bolted from her classroom and ran out to the field. The principal and a counselor tried to escort him to the office and he refused unless they called me. It horrified me because I've seen videos of cops being called and tasering or hitting special needs kids. When I got there, my son was very upset. It was like watching years of progress unravel. Apparently, he started to feel overwhelmed in her class because she's a bitch. She tuned on the heat too high and closed all the doors. He felt trapped and claustrophobic. When he asked for a break, she refused and told him to sit down or get detention. That only fueled his anxiety more and he exploded. The school quickly accepted that the situation was handled poorly by the teacher. I requested that he switch classes and even threatened to get a lawyer for not following their accommodations that they are required by law to follow. That got their attention quickly. They did not send him back to her class. Rather, he went to another class until the matter was resolved. The teacher did get into trouble and wanted to discuss it with us before pulling him out of her class. We met with her and she was just a nasty bitch. She accused our son of using his diagnosis as a crutch and he needed to grow up. I wanted to slap her. She went to take a phone call and I saw her keys on her desk. I put them in my pocket and we finished our conversation and I politely thanked her for her time. Then I threw her keys in a dumpster and got my son pulled out of her class the next day. That made my day lol. End of story. That is all for today. If you want to support my automated channel, feel free to drop a like and subscribe. See you tomorrow.